Greetings, friends. Well, welcome to another Game of Thrones episode review, and today we're going to talk about Lord Snow. I hear he's a pretty standout kind of guy. Anyway, let's get started. So first, in the Dothraki Sea, Daenerys is beginning to gain confidence in her new role as Drogo's wife, and gains her respect to the exiled knight Ser Jorah Mormont. But her relationship with her brother Viserys becomes strained when he angrily assaults her under the assumption that she is giving him commands. As punishment, Viserys is choked and nearly killed by Daenerys' blood rider Ricardo, and is forced to walk back to camp after Daenerys intervenes to spare his life. Arya notices that Daenerys is pregnant and shares the news with Jorah and Ricardo. Rather than be pleased, Jorah mysteriously departs for the free city of Qohor for supplies. In their tent, Daenerys reveals to Drogo that their child is a boy. How exactly do you know that? Oh well. Meanwhile, in Winterfell, with Bran now awake, Old Nan tells him a tale of a long-ago endless winter when the White Walkers first appeared, riding their dead horses and raising whites from the men they slaughtered. Her story is interrupted by Robb, who sadly confirms to Bran that his injuries are permanent and he'll never walk again. Aww. Bran, saying he is unable to remember anything about his fall, wishes he were dead. Okay, that just got really dark. Anyway, at the wall, Jon has joined the other recruits under the firm hand of Sir Alliser Thorne and easily beats every opponent sent against him. Sir Alliser berates them all for their poor performance, but has no kind words for Jon, dubbing him Lord Snow to mock his bastard heritage and telling him that he's the least useless person here. Startled, Jon asks Benjen to take him into several months along ranging north of the wall, but his uncle blocks this, telling Jon that here a man gets what he earns when he earns it. Okay. Tyrion tells Jon he isn't better than any of his new brothers, but only more fortunate, as he was trained by a master-at-arms, while the others are all orphan boys or criminals who have likely never held a sword before today. To make amends, Jon decides to give his fellow recruits proper sword training. Good idea. Later, Tyrion is besieged by Lord Commander Jorah Mormont and the elderly, blind Maester Aemon to ask his sister and brother-in-law for more men for the Night's Watch, as the wildlings are massing in numbers greater than the Watch is able to deal with, and rumors that the White Walkers have returned are becoming more widespread. Oh boy. Tyrion is skeptical, but agrees to do so. Before leaping the wall, Tyrion fulfills his ambition to urinate off the top of the wall and says goodbye to Jon, who finally accepts Tyrion as a friend. And finally, in King's Landing, Eddard's party arrives at King's Landing. Eddard is immediately summoned to a meeting of the King's Small Council. On his way to the throne room, Eddard encounters Jaime Lannister, and the audience is told that Jaime killed the mad King Aerys Targaryen, the father of Daenerys and Viserys Targaryen. Jaime reminds Eddard that Aerys had murdered Eddard's father and brother. However, Eddard does not consider this grounds for Jaime to break his oath as the Knight of the King's Guard. Oh boy. Eddard joins the small council, consisting of the King's brother, Lord Renly, the eunuch Lord Varys, Grand Maester Pycelle, and the Master of Coin Lord Peter Littlefinger Baelish. Littlefinger had once sold Eddard's brother for Catelyn's hand in marriage, and implies that he is still in love with her. Aww. Renly announces that Robert plans to hold a great tourney in honor of Eddard's appointment as Hand of the King. Eddard learns that the crown is heavily indebted, primarily to the Queen's father, Lord Tywin Lannister. Okay then. Catelyn arrives at King's Landing, supposedly in secret. However, she is taken by parasitic watchmen to a brothel owned by Littlefinger. Ooh my. He meets her to tell her that he had brought her there to keep her safe and hidden. Varys, also present, reveals that he learned of Catelyn's arrival through his spies. Ooh. The three of them and Sir Roderick discuss the attempted murder of Bran. Littlefinger shocks them all by admitting that the assassin's dagger was once his own. He claims that he lost it to Tyrion Lannister, betting on Jaime Lannister to win a previous tourney. Littlefinger arranges a meeting between Eddard and Catelyn, and Eddard reluctantly takes on Littlefinger as an ally who will help them find Bran's assailant. I don't think that's such a good idea. Eddard returns to his keep, only to find his daughters arguing. Arya is furious at Sansa for lying to protect Joffrey Baratheon. Ned reminds her that Joffrey is a prince and will be king one day with Sansa as his wife. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Learning that his younger daughter aspires to be a swordsman and has a sword of her own, he hires the Bravosi water dancer or fencer, Sierra Farrell, to teach her the art of swordsmanship. Huh. So, yeah, overall this is a pretty interesting episode, huh? Anyway, let's look at some production notes here. Lord Snow was written by the show creators and executive producers David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, based on a Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin, including chapters 18 through 22, 24, and 36. Catelyn 4, Jon 3, Eddard 4, Tyrion 3, Arya 2, Bran 4, and Daenerys 4. The third episode introduces a number of new characters to the story due to the expansion of the story to the new locales of King's Landing and the Wall. In the capital city, the members of the council are presented. Series regular Aidan Gillen, known for his roles in Queer as Folk and The Wire, takes Royal Lord Peter Baelish, King's Master of Coin known as Littlefinger. Gethin Anthony plays the King's youngest brother Renly Baratheon, and veteran actor Julian Glover, well known to science fiction and fantasy fans after appearing in such films as The Empire Strikes Back and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, was cast as Grand Maester of Pycelle after actor Roy Dotrice had to be replaced for medical reasons. Author George R. R. Martin wrote on the casting of Colin Hill as Spymaster Varys, quote, "Hill, like Varys, is quite a chameleon, an actor who truly disappears inside the characters he portrays, more than capable of not only bringing the slimy, slippery eunuch to life," end quote. Ian McElhenney plays Sir Barristan Selmy, the commander of the King's Guard, and Miltos Urlamu, I don't know if I messed that up or not, appears as the fencing instructor Sierra Farrell. McElhenney had previously played Gillen's father in Queer as Folk. Interesting. The hierarchy of the Wall is introduced with James Cosmo as Commander Jorah Mormont, Peter Vaughn as the blind Maester Aemon, Owen Taylor as the trainer of the new recruits Sir Alison Thorne, and Francis McGee as the recruiter Yoren. This episode also marks the first appearance of Welsh actress Margaret John as Old Nan. 84-year-old Margaret John died on February 2, 2011, a few months after having finished recording her scenes in Game of Thrones, which was her last role on television. Aww. With a 50-year acting career, she is remembered for her role of Doris on the BBC television show Gavin and Stacey. Executive producers David Benioff and Dan Weiss issued a statement grieving her death. The episode Lord Snow is dedicated to her, the last credit being in the memory of Margaret John. Nice. To film the scenes at the Wall, the production built a set on the abandoned quarry Megarmorn, a few minutes north of Belfast. The composite set, with both exteriors and interiors, consisted of a large section of Castle Black including the courtyard, the Ravenry, the mess hall, and the barracks, and used the stone wall of the quarry as the basis for the ice wall that protects Westeros from the dangers that dwell beyond. They also made a real elevator to lift the Rangers to the top of the wall. Interesting. For the streets of King's Landing, the production flew to Malta. The gate of Fort Ricasoli doubled as the King's Gate, shown at the beginning of the episode when the royal entourage enters the city. The entrance of the Red Keep used when Catelyn and Roderick entered the fortification corresponds to Dinah Gate, and also in Dinah, the Piazza Mesquita is the location for the entrance to the brothel owned by Lord Baelish. Ron Donachie, the actor playing Sir Roderick Castle, said that the scene where he entered King's Landing was his favorite moment. Visiting a museum in the Maltese capital of Valletta, Donachie had seen a painting of armed knights riding through the gate of Dinah itself, and found it exciting to be able to do the same thing, especially Roderick's full-scale Stark battle regalia. Oh yeah. On the scene where Old Nan offers to tell Bran's stories, she claims that his favorites are the ones about Sir Duncan the Tall. The Tales of Duncan and Squire Egg are a series of novellas written by author George R. R. Martin, taking place about 100 years before the events of Game of Thrones. Nice. So overall, this is a pretty good episode, and it does set up the seeds for future things later on down the road in the season and in the series itself. So, overall, I give Lord Snow 4 Iron Thrones out of 5. Well, join me next week as we take a look at cripples, bastards, and broken things. So, until next week, remember these 3 words. Winter is coming.